We are just moments away from the 2025 NBA draft beginning inside the Barclays Center in Brooklyn as we welcome you back to the 2025 draft special live right here for the entirety of the opening round on the opening night around the association here on SportsGrid. A reminder, 2 sets, 2 crews, a full slate for you for all 30 picks that we will see here on night number 1. Ben Stevens, the coach, J.Y. James Young, Kevin Walsh, and Tom Vecchio in New Jersey as well. Might be 2 different places, but we are all very focused on what we are going to see the remainder of the night over in BK. And of course, JY, we are just minutes away from the Dallas Mavericks. Improbable to be drafting first overall, especially after the dramatic season in the blockbuster deal of trading away Luka Doncic to be here in this spot, picking first overall. They won the draft lottery, but really you could call it another name. They won the Cooper Flag sweepstakes.
They won the sweepstakes, and they won the lottery twice. You know, I mean, to me, for them to get this position after they fumbled that trade is mind-boggling to me as a coach, trading a person at the level of Luka Doncic. But now you have Cooper Flag, who I guess in my eyes growing up, he is a version of Scottie Pippen. In my eyes, in regards as a 3 that can do it all, score, rebound, defend, dime you up, lead a team, really mature beyond his years, something that you'll see about some freshmen that we're not going to say about others. But Cooper Flag, we've been waiting for this moment, and this moment, Ben, is just about here.
And he'll have grand expectations once he enters the NBA, a part of this Mavericks organization. He certainly exceeded those expectations collegiately in his 1 year at Durham for the Duke Blue Devils. But Kev, the one thing we're not really questioning around Cooper Flag is the fact that he is going to be the first overall pick. You have done a great job, you and Tom, already reminding people, updating them on the markets. There's not much really to share here about Cooper Flag. It's just a matter of when he hears his name called by Adam Silver.
Yeah, when Dallas won the lottery, they didn't pan to a group of players. I think they panned to Cooper Flag's parents at one point. We knew the deal the second Dallas owned this pick, and that meant, Tom, the sports books knew the deal. At no point do I think bettors found themselves thinking, oh, I can really get value. Now, incredibly, the minus 5,000s were beatable numbers, if you will, as he closes in the 100,000 range. Cooper Flag going first has been a certainty, not just from when Dallas got the pick, but basically since he took the floor at Duke.
Right, since he took the floor at Duke, since the season ended, since he made his announcement saying, I am leaving. Because there was some speculation that he had, some unfinished business at Duke. Would they run it back with Con Knappel? But he is set to go number 1. We know that. Again, Harper is set to go number 2 to the San Antonio Spurs. After that, that's where things get started. I think he fits in perfectly for the Mavericks, especially with Kyrie presumably out for the entire year. I think it'll be a high usage situation for him. And to me, there's no reason to not get him involved early and get him the shots. Yeah, they're going to have to work things out of where does the offense flow. Obviously, Clay's still there. They also want to get the full touches to AD, but I think they're a play-in type of team. I'm not going to say that they're a playoff team, but I would say play-in, and I think he has a very high ceiling. Even in his rookie year, we're talking double-double he could average.
Dallas has aspirations certainly towards getting into the playoffs. It's actually, to some degree, why Dallas getting this pick and how they operate made people wonder, okay, he's going first. Are we sure he's going to end up a Dallas Maverick? The thing is, Ben, we know that it was not just the Mavs who upset the apple cart that is the draft lottery. Dallas wasn't supposed to pick 1, San Antonio not supposed to pick 2, and Philly not supposed to pick 3. I think that added some questions into the early portions of this draft process.
Kev, absolutely. A 1.8% chance for the Mavericks to win the NBA draft lottery, the 4th worst percentage prior to a lottery since the draft lottery began in 1985. Dallas moved up 10 spots. The largest ever move we have seen in a draft lottery. And it wasn't just Dallas, as Kev alluded to. The San Antonio Spurs, who were in this exact spot 2 years ago with another generational talent, JY, and Victor Wembanyama, they're drafting 2nd overall. They also had the Rookie of the Year a season ago as well with Steph Castle. The Philadelphia 76ers needed to stay within the top 6. How about top 3? That's where Philadelphia will select. Ultimately, at those 2 spots, What do you think happens? Number 2 with San Antonio and number 3 with the 76ers.
Obviously, Dylan Harper is going to go number 2. And it's interesting when you talk about the 3 teams, they're in different stages, right? You know, obviously Dallas with the injury to Kyrie Irving, but with an older age of AD, re-signing Gafford, there's a team that's going to push and try to get to the playoffs. San Antonio, we're taking Dylan Harper, they're just trying to ascend into the playoffs. And then there's Philadelphia at 3. With Embiid, we don't know how long his knees are going to hold up. They have to go for it. And that's why I think it wonders why, if they could unload Paul George's contract to give them more flexibility to make moves, that's why I keep thinking, when is Brooklyn going to make the call, Ben, and turn this draft upside down?
It's already been a summer of chaos, Kevin, a flurry of offseason moves and trades in the last 48 to 72 hours. What are the odds telling you beyond 1 and 2, where Cooper Flagg is minus 100,000 to go first overall, Harper minus 20,000 to go second overall? What are the odds saying about 3, 4, and perhaps even 5?
The market right now has closed with VJ Edgecombe, a considerable favorite to be the 3rd overall selection. Charlotte at 4 then seemingly would be selecting Con Knipple, and at 5 would be Utah drafting Utah Jazz. A few problems, though. Ace Bailey also closed at a minus price to go inside the top 5. That makes 6 guys. Also, we have heard trade rumors involving Philly potentially being willing to go back and Utah being willing to go back. Those potential moves could really start to shape how your bets will be graded in this draft. If Ace Bailey goes 3rd to Brooklyn, as coach is suggesting, Tom, all of a sudden the Con Knipple 4th overall bettors have to worry about VJ Edgecombe being on the board.
This is what we were talking about, where one move, and Brooklyn's the team to make the move with all the first-round picks that they have.
New Orleans, we're hearing a little bit about too. Picked up the 23rd pick earlier this week from Indiana.
So that was one of the ones we were also talking about. If the Pelicans are that team to move up as well, do they want Ace Bailey, or I think that Queen could be a fit there as well. But again, as soon as that first domino of chaos falls, that impacts everything else. And it's not just like, oh, it impacts 3, 4, 5. If you're holding a someone in 10, 11, 12, who would be a good example of 10, 11, 12?
Chicago.
Yeah, Chicago. Carter Bryant at that 10, 11 range. Like, listen, all of a sudden he may be pushed down to 14, 15 because there's just players leapfrogging him. Because, hey, Malawatch is there at 8. We're going to take this guy at 9, whatever it might be. So the draft is going to shake out in a very chaotic manner. That's how I'm approaching this.
And just a point in terms of betting the draft is typically things are more expensive than maybe they should be. There's 6 guys at minus money to go inside the top 5. There's closer to 12 or 13 guys at around minus money to go in the top 10, including Carter Bryant, who you mentioned with a over-under draft position that was listed at 10.5. So there certainly will be upsets in the market tonight, Ben. It's just not going to be first overall.
Yeah, Kev, we got to find out what price is incorrect. Ace Bailey minus 250 to be a top 5 pick, and yet JY not favored to be any of those first 5 selections. Not 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. We know who is going first overall. His name is Cooper Flagg. It is not a matter of if, it is only a matter of when. That NBA Commissioner Adam Silver walks across the stage in Brooklyn and announces Cooper Flagg. Might it be on the other side of the break here on SportsGrid's Draft Special.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
2 guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him
rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What? How do you do this one?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that ring. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple of
15.5-point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. It's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune in to Game Time Decisions weekdays on SportsGrid.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip? Try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
And of course, just as our luck would have it, live right here on SportsGrid's Draft Special, the very first pick of the 2025 NBA Draft is now officially in. Again, we were just awaiting confirmation for his coronation tonight in Brooklyn. The Dallas Mavericks, with the first overall selection, have taken Cooper Flagg out of Duke. JY, as we shared numerous times, Flagg was a minus 100,000 favorite to be the number one overall pick of the 2025 NBA Draft. As Kev even said, when the Mavericks surprisingly won the draft lottery, the camera zoomed in on Cooper Flagg. Frankly, it's not even here. We've known since this guy was about 15 years old, hooping up in Maine, he was probably going to be that first overall pick. A generational talent, highly touted. First overall recruit in the 2024 class. He comes in with weight of expectation to the Duke Blue Devils. He surpasses even our highest expectations. Will he do the same now in the NBA with Dallas?
I believe he will. Like I said last break, I think he's Scottie Pippen. I look at his game and his ability to score inside out. I actually think he's a probably more skilled shooter than Scottie Pippen was. Scottie had to get that shot over the time he was in Chicago. But what a phenomenal talent. You put him in that front line with P.J. Washington and Daniel Gafford or Derek Lively at the center position, and then obviously Klay Thompson at the two. You just wait for Kyrie Irving to get back. And this is a Dallas Mavericks team that, you know, Kevin and I were all big on this team before the trade. We jumped off it after the trade. Now I'm jumping back in on the team. Now, what Cooper Flagg is going to be able to do is going to be spectacular. And I think the way he carries himself, remember, folks, one thing about Cooper Flagg, I don't know if people notice, he should have been in the 2026 class. He actually graduated early from high school so he can get himself into the NBA. So, Ben, what a talent. Dallas is salivating. They got their guy, and now it's can they make a playoff run next year?
The Wooden Award winner in college basketball in his lone year with the Duke Blue Devils. Also the National Freshman of the Year, ACC Player of the Year, ACC Rookie of the Year. Kevin Walsh and Tom Vecchio, the long list of accolades could go on for a while. Kev, there wasn't much of a question around the price of Cooper Flagg going first overall. I think now the question is, what's the number on Cooper Flagg to be that NBA Rookie of the Year this upcoming campaign?
Will it be minus money? I think the Dallas piece of it kind of goes both ways. He may be listed on the team with the best win total, maybe, of some of the high-end rookies, but also may not be projected the type of usage had the lottery been won by a Washington or Utah or Brooklyn. I will just say on Cooper Flagg, This is the definition of a can't-miss player. He is a guaranteed future top 10 player in this league at worst. You look at the pedigree of Cooper Flagg and just go back to Cade Cunningham, who had all that pedigree coming out of Montverde, just like Coop, and had a rocky start in Detroit, which featured finishing third in Rookie of the Year despite being the favorite, an injury in year 2, and on a historically bad 14-win team in year number 3, and by year 4 was finishing inside the top 5 of MVP ballots and an all-NBA player. Cooper Flagg comes into the league with even more pedigree than that. The Mavericks end up with a can't-miss player in Cooper Flagg, Tom.
Yeah, when it comes to his betting odds, I think we will see them at minus money. I think that's very, very clear, and I think the books will do it at a certain point just to mitigate risk, where they don't want it to be a liability. And now we could say that this rookie class is very, very talented, especially that top end. Where again, if we see Ace Bailey go to a spot where he can have a ton of volume, there's a chance that he may end the season with more points per game compared to Cooper Flagg, just on raw numbers, right? But Cooper Flagg may do more overall. So it's like, okay, then he will be in a spot to win the award. He's going to be playing on a better team, almost certainly, compared to where Ace Bailey will land. So I believe he will end up at minus money, or start off, I should say, at minus money to be Rookie of the Year.
Ben, it's back to you.
Yes, certainly it is, Kev, because the NBA draft in 2025 is off to a very fast start. With a focus on the Lone Star State, from Dallas, we go to San Antonio. The second overall pick in the 2025 NBA draft is now officially in. And the San Antonio Spurs select Dylan Harper out of Rutgers. He is the highest ever selected player from Rutgers University, JY, just the 5th overall first-round selection from this Scarlet Knights basketball program. And for San Antonio, drafting early here on the nights of the NBA draft in recent memory have been pretty fun. First overall in 2023, that generational talent, Victor Wembanyama, wins NBA Rookie of the Year. Last summer, in the top 5, Steph Castle out of UConn wins NBA Rookie of the Year. Might we sense a trend here for this Spurs organization in Dylan Harper?
All about how they use him. But, hey, Jersey is in the building. Ron Harper's son, completely different than his dad or his older brother in his style of play. Silky smooth guard, lefty. Can kind of do a lot of things, really good defensively. I mean, Steve Peichel can't teach offense, but he can at least teach defense. So this guy can play defense at a high level. The interesting thing, Ben, is going to be how do they use Dylan Harper? With Stephon Castle? With De'Aaron Fox? We haven't even talked about Devin Vassell. Do they go 2 to 3? Do they go 3-guard combo? What happens to Calvin Johnson? Still a lot of questions you have to have on San Antonio, but how they incorporate Dylan Harper to this young core.
Kev, Tom, right back to you. I ask you a hypothetical question, perhaps. 2 teams from Texas, 2 teams hailing from the Western Conference. Mavs, Spurs. Who has the higher ceiling in 2025-26?
I love that question, sir. I right now would find myself siding with San Antonio, where at least the logjam is in the backcourt, which might be a little bit easier to figure out instead of the potential spacing issues that might be created by Anthony Davis refusing to play the 5, which would then put Flagg down to the 3.
To the 3, because the combination of what they have with Lively, P.J. Washington, what are we got?
Gafford, AD, like all 7-footers, baby.
Just a massive lineup overall. But the Spurs, I think, with the ceiling that they have, if Wemby can take a massive leap,
just got to stay out there.
Just stay out there. The team has no ceiling.
Yeah, I also do quickly, I'll just say, Ben, wonder if De'Aaron Fox 100% will be on this team by the start of next season.
Ooh. Listen, it's been a summer of moves already. 2 teams that seem ready to win. How about the team drafting 3rd overall? Philadelphia 76ers. That's next.
On June 25th at 7:30 p.m., ditch the guesswork. Ben Stevens, Kevin Walsh, James Young, and Tom Vecchio have your NBA draft betting coverage pick by pick, bet by bet, all night long. We got all the insights and expert analysis because betting blind isn't a strategy. Coverage starts at 7:30 p.m. on June 25th, only on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all. It's
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What?
How do you do this one?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Dialing it back to his old days with St. Louis and Arizona. Buy or sell, Goldie will finish top 7 in fantasy first baseman.
No, I'm going to say no. I think he'll fall off. Older player here, he'll fall off. He'll be top 10, but not top 7 here. Top 10, I would say I'd buy it. Top 7, I'm going to say no here. I think he'll put up decent numbers here. Not as good as he was. I don't think he's going to bat 340, 350 all year long.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on
Every 5 days, it's really exciting when Skeens pitches. And it's terrible watching him pitch because every time he pitches, they don't score.
Having him hit the lineup probably would actually help when he pitches. There's no way to do it because you can't. But, yeah, it's beyond frustrating. And the numbers will tell you, the books have adjusted.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
The first 2 selections of the 2025 NBA draft have come flying off the board, but no real surprises this early on. A minus 100,000 favorite to go first. That was Cooper Flagg to the Dallas Mavericks. A minus 20,000 favorite to go second. That was Dylan Harper to the San Antonio Spurs. But now James Young selecting 3rd overall, the Philadelphia 76ers. Only if the 76ers finish in the top 6 of the draft lottery order would they retain that pick. In what was a rebuilding season in the city of brotherly love, Philly is now drafting 3rd overall. But as you shared early on, you think that Philly might not be holding on to this 3rd overall selection in the next few moments. How come?
Fits into what they want to do. And everybody knows that the contract of Paul George is the 2nd worst contract in the NBA behind Bradley Beal. Well, what do you have? You have ability to move back at 3 and take that contract off the hands and drop down to 8 and still get a really good young prospect. Meanwhile, Brooklyn, we all know, wants Ace Bailey, so for them to go up to 3 is where you have to get him because we all know he's not going to go below 6 because obviously Washington is waiting there to pluck him up. So to me, it's interesting that Philadelphia does take Edgecombe. I just think Daryl Morey will not do that, but maybe I'm wrong.
Well, sadly, JY, you are wrong because the Philadelphia 76ers remain at that number 3 overall spot, and the pick is now officially in. The 76ers select the freshman from Baylor, VJ Edgecombe, who in his lone year in college basketball, JY, in Waco, did a lot of great things for this Baylor side. A first-team All-Big 12 selection for Scott Drew and company. But one of the reasons people look at VJ Edgecombe, the talented athlete and scorer that he is, and think his game can translate right away to the NBA is because of his work with the Bahamian national team. Last summer, trying to get the Bahamas to qualify for the 2024 Summer Olympic Games. VJ Edgecombe now heads to the Philadelphia 76ers. How does he fit in the puzzle in Philly?
That's going to be hard to see in regards to what they're going to do because they already have 2 guards, and McCain coming back from injury who had a great year, probably had a chance to be was going to be rookie of the year with the way Jared had started the year. And obviously Tyrese Maxey missed time as well. Then you also have Paul George. So are you looking at VJ as your 4th guard, as your 3rd guard? Are you moving Paul George? How are you doing so? I just have to see how it fits in regards to it. Now, regards to talent, yes, he's talented. Is he Ace Bailey talented? Not in my opinion. I think Ace Bailey is way more talented. Plus, I like the size of a 6'8" would have fit better with Philadelphia. But trader Daryl Morey didn't make a trade. Shocked that he didn't do it. But to me, VJ Edgecombe steps to a situation in Philadelphia who's right now with Joel Embiid, which we don't know how long, Ben, his knees are going to hold up. They have to win, and they're going to win this year.
Absolutely so. VJ Edgecombe, a minus 850 favorite in those closing betting markets to be the third overall pick. Kevin, Tom, that's exactly what happened. Let's talk another betting price. 11-1 on the 76ers. Fifth best number to win the Eastern Conference Championship this upcoming campaign. A lot of uncertainty, Kev, in the Eastern Conference. Now with VJ Edgecombe among a talented roster. What's your outlook on the Sixers in 2025-26?
On one side is 12 or 13-1 for adding Desmond Bane. I think that first of all is a number that is probably still not as short as Philly's was last season after bringing in Paul George. Philly runs the roster back. I understand the health concerns are there, but I think some people are now acting as if this is a bad basketball team. Joel Embiid played 19 games, half a season from Paul George, almost 30 missed games from Tyrese Maxey. From a talent perspective, Philly is still near the top of the East.
I know. This still. I always want to, like, the hypothetical was like, what if there weren't injury concerns for the 76ers? Like, would we be booking them as the favorite? Because the tiers in the East
right now, I think they would have
the
second best odds if you turned injuries off.
If like the tiers in the East are Cavs, Knicks, and then it's kind of like, we got these other groupings of Magic. The Magic
are in a tier above Philly by pricing.
Right, but it's wrong.
I agree with that.
So I think the talent, as Kevin's alluding to, the talent from the 76ers is phenomenal. It's just making the pieces work together and having some real plan for Embiid, like you're only playing every other game. It doesn't matter, only every other game. Keep him healthy, keep him out there.
Edgecombe, I think, by the way, a legitimate chance, Ben, to start for that team over Jared McCain due to the defensive upside.
The 76ers take VJ Edgecombe out of Baylor at third overall. What the rest of the lottery has in store on SportsGrid's Draft Special up next.
On June 25th at 7:30 p.m., ditch the guesswork. Ben Stevens, Kevin Walsh, James Young, and Tom Vecchio have your NBA draft betting coverage pick by pick, bet by bet, all night long. We got all the insights and expert analysis because betting blind isn't a strategy. Coverage starts at 7:30 p.m. on June 25th, only on SportsGrid.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What? How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Dialing it back to his old days with St. Louis and Arizona. Buy or sell, Goldie will finish top 7 in fantasy first baseman.
No, I'm going to say no. I think he'll fall off. Older player here, he'll be top 10, but not top 7 here. Top 10, I would say I'd buy it. Top 7, I'm going to say no here. I think he'll put up decent numbers here. Not as good as he was. I don't think he's going to bat 340, 350 all year long.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on
Every 5 days, it's really exciting when Skeens pitches, and it's terrible watching him pitch because every time he pitches, they don't score.
Having him hit the lineup probably would actually help when he pitches. There's no way to do it because you can't, but yeah, it's beyond frustrating. And the numbers will tell you, the books have adjusted.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
We welcome you back to the SportsGrid Draft Special here for the entirety of the opening round, the opening night of the 2025 NBA Draft. As you can see, with the 4th overall pick, the Charlotte Hornets are now on the clock, outside of the top 3, JY. But as we saw from the odds perspective, it's been pretty status quo so far. Cooper Flagg, Dylan Harper, and VJ Edgecombe, all very strong favorites to go 1, 2, 3 in that order. It's the exacta or trifecta we have seen so far. Closing as the hefty odds-on favorite to be the 4th overall pick was Cooper Flagg's college teammate, one of his best friends from Duke. That would be Con Knippel. Is that what Charlotte does here with this 4th overall pick?
I would personally look at the fact that Mark Williams, and this is where I start reaching for guys a little bit, and that's why I think someone like Kamal Malawatch makes sense, because you tried to trade Mark Williams. You know how healthy he is. You could put him into the pivot. You already have a shooter in Brandon Miller, but if you put Knippel there, you do have someone else that can space the floor, extremely smart, has a sneaky little floater game in his package. So if you run him off the line, he's not going to go all the way to the rack, but he can get to that little floater. So now you have LaMelo Ball coming off of some kind of action, and you legitimately have 3 pretty good shooters in Bridges, Miller, and Knippel. So it makes sense in regards to that. I just wonder with that big there, at 7-2, the way he can play in a pick and roll game, I would rather go with a big there.
So, Kev, as we shared, a more than minus 400 price on Knippel right before the 2025 NBA draft begun to be that 4th overall pick. He hit 84 threes during his lone year of college basketball in Durham, the 5th most ever for a Duke freshman. Does that shooting translate to the next level, and how might it fit in the Queen City?
Yeah, that shooting translates to any level, pal. When you pair it with a 91% percentage from free throw, you know that is pure as can be. I think it's remarkable to think about the rise for Con Knippel in this process. When we knew Cooper was going to go number 1, Knippel impressed early, and people went, wow, maybe another lottery pick. And here we are seeing Knippel's name called inside the top 5 of this draft. Con Knippel was the pick there. He is going to go to Charlotte, and he'll look to fit in next to most likely Tom LaMelo Ball and Brandon Miller, who profile is more on. All right, get it over to Ben.
All right, let's make it official then, Kev, as you just said right there, with the 4th overall pick of the 2025 NBA draft. The pick is in. The Charlotte Hornets select Con Knippel out of Duke. JY, one of the things that stood out to me about Con Knippel during his playing days in Durham, started and played in all 39 games for the Blue Devils, that matching a school record for a freshman there for this illustrious and prestigious program in the lore of college basketball. And if you remember in the ACC tournament against Georgia Tech, his postseason play began when Cooper Flagg suffered the scary injury to end out the opening half and did not play the remainder of the time in Charlotte, Con's new home in the NBA. Who stepped up? It was Con Knippel to earn ACC Tournament Player of that tournament, the MOP, if you will. How do you believe Con Knippel's game translates to the association?
He's a sniper, and he can shoot it. In an NBA, if you can knock down threes at a high clip and come off of screens, meaning just not be a standstill, catch a three-point shooter, I think his game translates extremely well to the next level. Now, it's all about how LaMelo Ball is going to be used and Brandon Miller is going to be used, because those are 2 guys that I think can create their own shot. Will LaMelo Ball be willing to sacrifice points and not want to get 23, 24, 25 points a game? Could he get himself in the 18-point-a-game range where he gets you about 9 or 10 assists? Because now what you have in Charlotte is you have a plethora of guys that can shoot and knock down shots. So now a guy like LaMelo, you get up onto him, you drive it. Now it's a kick-out opportunity for a guy like Con Knippel. His game translates very well because he can shoot that ball.
84 made threes, as we shared, during 2024-25, the 5th most ever for the Duke Blue Devils by a freshman. Kev, a little bit rude if I do say, of both the Hornets and Con Knippel himself for interrupting the praises that you are heaping on both the prospect and the franchise with this selection. How did you like what Charlotte did here with the philosophy behind that 4th overall pick?
The audacity to cross the stage mid-breakdown. Con Knippel is the best shooter of any player you'll see selected in the lottery. And I think one of the draws to Con Knippel, it's rare you see this be true with a 4th overall pick, Tom, but it's that he does not need the basketball every possession when they have two guys in Miller and LaMelo who project to be way more ball dominant.
Way more ball dominant, but he's that missing piece. He's the puzzle piece that I think the Hornets need now. The defense from him is going to be a question, especially moving laterally. Guys at this speed are going to be, I think, he's going to be a liability for them on defense. But
he's got good positional size, I'll tell you,
he
man.
Does, but that's so he can guard multiple positions, and increasing the quickness, I think, is something that will come with time. But that will develop as the team develops overall. How he fits into the offense, as Coach was alluding to, I think LaMelo does need to take that step back. And take that step back in terms of just pure scoring, but still play the Tyrese Halliburton role. It's like he is the engine of the offense, and things will revolve around him, thus making Brandon Miller and Con Knappel better.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to ask someone to be Tyrese. I understand what you're saying of distribute it a little bit more if you're LaMelo Ball. I think one of the key things for Charlotte with LaMelo and Brandon Miller is just staying available. And I think that's why Knippel going 4th overall does track. When Cooper Flagg went down in the ACC tournament, Con Knippel had to step up and won ACC tournament MVP. He showed more lead dog chops than I think a lot of people had anticipated. I will just say, so far in this draft, we are chalk through 4, Ben. We wait to see if that's the case at pick 5.
Minus 100,000 for Cooper Flagg to go first. Yeah, check. Minus 20,000 for Dylan Harper to go second. Check as well. VJ Edgecombe closed as a minus 850 favorite to go third. Cash that ticket, and now Con Knippel around a minus 420 price to go 4th. Good as well. But JY, we were just talking a little bit from the coaching perspective. Your scouting report on Con Knippel, not as the prolific shooter, but on the defensive end of the floor. How much of a challenge will that be for his game in the NBA?
I don't think as big as what people are going to say. And Kevin and I talked about this like during the year. Duke was one of the best defensive teams, and I was amazed at their ability to defend at an extremely high level all year, and that included Knippel. But now if you put Con Knippel in your lineup, he's going to get, if you want to say Brandon Miller's a better defender, I could argue that I think Con Knippel probably is a better defender than Brandon Miller, in my opinion. But you put him on the 3rd guard, all you have to do is play angles, play space, and then obviously go from there. I mean, to me, Con Knippel's a better defender than LaMelo Ball, who plays 0 defense. So if we're going to talk about guys who don't play defense, start with the guy at the point of attack with LaMelo Ball. I think Con Knippel will be able to play both sides of the floor and play it really, really well.
19-63, that was the record for the Hornets this previous season. 3rd worst in the NBA. Of course, the updated NBA draft lottery since 2019. Those 3 teams that have the 14% chance to draft 1st overall did not. And I alluded to the worst record in the NBA, that being the Utah Jazz at 17-65. Kev, Tom, JY, our first surprise of the 2025 NBA draft, perhaps, because the pick is now in. At the 5th overall spot, the Utah Jazz select Ace Bailey out of Rutgers, giving the Scarlet Knights their 2nd pick in the top 5. JY, we knew a number was wrong. Ace Bailey not favored to be any of the first 5 picks individually, but minus 250 to go in the top 5. He goes 5th overall to Utah. What's your immediate reaction?
Trade! Something's got to be going on, because this guy basically said, I don't want any part of Utah. And if you want to talk about being a star, John Collins just exercised his option for next year. So what are they going to do? Something's up. Trade may be in the works.
Maybe so. Could we see a flurry? Could we see a move? We'll break it all down for you on the other side of the break. It's our first surprise in the 2025 NBA Draft. Kevin Walsh and Tom Vecchio give you their thoughts next.
On June 25th at 7:30 p.m., ditch the guesswork. Ben Stevens, Kevin Walsh, James Young, and Tom Vecchio have your NBA draft betting coverage pick by pick, bet by bet, all night long. We got all the insights and expert analysis because betting blind isn't a strategy. Coverage starts at 7:30 p.m. on June 25th, only on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What? How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Dialing it back to his old days with St. Louis and Arizona. Buy or sell, Goldie will finish top 7 in fantasy first baseman.
No, I'm going to say no. I think he'll fall off. Older player here, he'll be top 10, but not top 7 here. Top 10, I would say I'd buy it. Top 7, I'm going to say no here. I think he'll put up decent numbers here. Not as good as he was. I don't think he's going to bat 340, 350 all year long.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on
Every 5 days, it's really exciting when Skeens pitches. And it's terrible watching him pitch because every time he pitches, they don't score.
Having him hit the lineup probably would actually help when he pitches. There's no way to do it because you can't. But, yeah, it's beyond frustrating. And the numbers will tell you, the books have adjusted.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Perhaps our first surprise of night number 1, round number 1 of the 2025 NBA Draft, as we welcome you back to SportsGrid's Draft Special. The team that had the worst record in the association this previous season, the Utah Jazz, drafting 5th overall. Take a guy we did not think they would bring to Salt Lake in Ace Bailey. Kevin Walsh and Tom Vecchio alongside. He is the coach, J.Y. James Young. I am Ben Stevens. And Kevin, Tom, we talked about the numbers and the odds profile around Arias. That would be Ace Bailey's profile for the 2025 NBA Draft. Not favored to be any of those first 5 picks, and yet a minus 200, minus 250 favorite to be a top 5 selection. So I ask a rather point-blank question. Are you surprised Ace went 5th to Utah?
Not really. The odds were telling us he would. They just told us a few guys. The Jazz and Danny Ainge specifically, I know Austin Ainge is in the mix, saw the talent and said they couldn't pass it up. I not only agree, I say thank you. As a firm Ace Bailey believer, the backing of Danny Ainge has done tremendous things for my confidence in that sentiment. I think Ace Bailey landing in Utah puts him in line, Tom, to have the second best odds for Rookie of the Year, of course, behind Cooper Flagg.
Yeah, so this is interesting from multiple levels. I would say, at face value, this Ace Bailey, with the way things transpired in the pre-draft process, it didn't seem like a Danny Ainge type of player to me. That's just how I viewed it. The skill and the talent is there. That's very clear, right? So hang on. But I think this may be one of the best spots because when it's said and done, they need to trade Lauri Markkanen and John Collins. Like, those are players that other teams will want, and this is, I mean, you want to take 30 shots a night. Like, I know he said he wanted to be a star in Utah, may not be the biggest market, but you want to take 20 or 30 shots a night, they ship out Lauri Markkanen, send him to a contending team. I know a lot of contending teams will like Lauri Markkanen.
Yeah.
Send John Collins, 20 shots a night, let it rip.
But just the point I was going to make, you say it's not a guy you would think Danny Ainge would draft.
Right.
The fact that he did tells me that they saw a lot of the positives that I saw. And again, from the odds, Jeremiah Fears is a faller. He was a minus money favorite to be selected 5th overall. We have heard him connected to both Washington and New Orleans. Could potentially a Fears mini slide lead to another player, Ben, falling outside of the top 10?
It is very interesting, Kev, especially from that odds perspective. A couple of big guys like Maryland's Derek Queen and the other Duke freshman we expect to go early in the lottery. Come on, Malawatch, certainly watching Ace Bailey go 5th overall to Salt Lake in the Utah Jazz. JY, again, from the odds perspective, a slight surprise as Ace Bailey was not projected from the odds to go here at 5th overall to Utah, and yet a -200 or -250 favorite to be a top 5 pick. Also a slight surprise given his draft stock in the last few weeks about how Bailey has conducted the pre-draft process. Not performing great in interviews, canceling some pre-draft visits, not going to other places. But when it comes to Ace Bailey, the basketball player, and the talent on the hardwood, how do you expect him to perform now in the NBA?
Guy can make shots. Guy can create shots. Guy takes really bad shots, too. So if it involves a shot, it involves Ace Bailey. So to me, yes, and Tom makes a good point, and Kevin's right. You know what? Good for Danny Ainge. Ace Bailey came out and said, I don't want to go to Utah. Danny Ainge said, I do not care. You're coming to Utah. So good for Danny Ainge to take a guy that I had number 3 on my draft board. And now in Utah, who always seems to be rebuilding, right? I think Tom's right. John Collins is going to get moved. We'll see what happens with Laurie Marketing. I think you can play Bailey and Marketing together, just slide Marketing to a 4. But we'll see what goes on. But it looks like, Ben, we have another pick in.
We do have another pick in, JY, because after the Utah Jazz at 5th overall, then comes the Washington Wizards. And with the 6th overall pick of the 2025 NBA draft, that pick now officially in, and it's the SEC Freshman of the Year out of Texas. 6th overall to the nation's capital, it's Trey Johnson. A guy, JY, that when you see the numbers, 19.9 points per game, led all of the SEC, the gauntlet of the basketball conference that we saw in 2024-25 in scoring a season ago. Just the 6th ever freshman in the history of the SEC to lead the conference in scoring as a freshman. So Trey Johnson goes 6th to the Wiz. What does he bring to the nation's capital?
Scoring mentality and a scoring punch. And I thought at this pick, I actually thought that Johnson was going to go 5, but then he went 6. Jeremiah Fear is going 6. So I just kind of got those guys maybe one slot off because you figure with Washington, with the fact of now bringing in C.J. McCollum, right? Having Chris Middleton, those are guys are going to be free agents. So you wanted to get yourself someone in the backcourt to pair yourself with Alex Sarr. This is a young man that can go get a bucket and really comes from a scoring mentality. So it should be interesting. And you know what? Kind of playing with guys like a C.J. McCollum that's a scorer, maybe he's a good role model for him to watch this game after.
Shot 39% from beyond the arc in his first year and only year in Austin with the Longhorns. So, Kev, you talked about the odds perspective. Ace Bailey goes 5. Trey Johnson was kind of that odd man out, not an odds-on favorite, right, or even just a favorite to be any of those first 5 or 6 selections. He ends up at 6, goes to D.C. with the Wizards. What do you make of what Washington has done?
Odds-wise, late last night, I did a mock draft exercise entirely through the odds. Trey Johnson didn't find a home within the first 20 selections. Now, you knew that wasn't going to happen. But again, this is a bit of an upset here to see Trey land in Washington. I will just say, not the player I would have picked if I were in charge. Being able to make tough buckets is great, but sometimes it's not good, Tom, if all you can create are tough buckets.
Right. I'm just wondering where he fits in. Like, he'll be in the starting lineup. They'll have Marcus Smart coming off the bench.
I don't know about
Trey, McCollum, Middleton.
Oh, Carrington, baby.
Yeah, I know.
Koulibaly.
Koulibaly and Sarr.
This guy's like the 9th, 10th man
I don't know.
on that
Trey
team.
Johnson, it's either it could be boom or bust in his rookie year, but after those contracts free up following next season, he could be in line for a big role.
Be interesting.
Yes, it certainly will. Trey Johnson, 6th overall to the Washington Wizards. We'll tell you what we've seen so far in the first 6 picks of the NBA draft next on SportsGrid.
On June 25th at 7:30 p.m., ditch the guesswork. Ben Stevens, Kevin Walsh, James Young, and Tom Vecchio Have your NBA draft betting coverage pick by pick, bet by bet, all night long. We got all the insights and expert analysis. Because betting blind isn't a strategy. Coverage starts at 7:30 p.m. on June 25th, only on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What? How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Dialing it back to his old days with St. Louis and Arizona. Buy or sell, Goldie will finish top 7 in fantasy first baseman.
No, I'm going to say no. I think he'll fall off. Older player here, he'll be top 10, but not top 7 here. Top 10, I would say I'd buy it. Top 7, I'm going to say no here. I think he'll put up decent numbers here. Not as good as he was. I don't think he's going to bat 340, 350 all year long.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on
Every 5 days, it's really exciting when Skeens pitches. And it's terrible watching him pitch because every time he pitches, they don't score.
Having him hit the lineup probably would actually help when he pitches. There's no way to do it because you can't. But, yeah, it's beyond frustrating. And the numbers will tell you, the books have adjusted.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Rounding out the opening hour of our 2025 SportsGrid Draft Special on the opening night in round number 1 of the 2025 NBA Draft. Ben Stevens and the coach, J.Y. James Young. The picks have been flying off the board. Currently at 7th overall, the New Orleans Pelicans are on the clock. But let's get you caught up in case you missed anything as we look at the first 4 picks so far in the 2025 NBA Draft order. None of them a surprise. Cooper Flagg goes first overall to the Dallas Mavericks, a minus 100,000 favorite. That price cashes. Second overall, there he is, Dylan Harper to the San Antonio Spurs out of Rutgers. Third overall, VJ Edgecombe from Baylor goes third to the Philadelphia 76ers. And JY rounding out the Tom 4, 2 Dukies. Con Knippel, Cooper Flagg's teammate, goes 4th overall to the Charlotte Hornets. Again, as we said, all 4 of these guys on these screens, at least a minus 400 favorite or better. And these 2 guys were rather hefty to be in these spots. What is your main takeaway from the first 4 picks we have seen so far on night number 1?
See, if someone would have behaved themselves, we would have had 2 Duke guys and 2 Rutgers guys in the top 4 pick. And it still goes back to what I said to Ben earlier. One team, almost made it to the national championship game. The other team didn't make the NCAA tournament. Steve Peichel, we got questions for you on SportsGrid. Call Coach if you want to discuss. But when you talk about talent, phenomenal talent, and each of these guys are going to help their teams in different ways. Cooper Flagg, that Scottie Pippen clone. I heard someone say Scottie Pippen would meet Larry Bird. Oh my goodness, if he's those 2 together, we have a beyond a generational player. We have a top 10 player of all time, if that's what he turns out to be. Obviously, Dylan Harper, see how he's used in San Antonio? He can be a lead guard, you can play him as a 2 guard, do they play 3 guards together? VJ Edgecombe, let's see what happens. Does McCain get moved? Do they put him on the bench? What happens with Paul George? Dynamic. And then there's Con Knippel with LaMelo Ball, like we've talked about. Will LaMelo be willing to change his role? Now, probably got to go to LeVar before you go to LaMelo to talk about that. But will he change his role and sacrifice points to get guys like Con Knippel shots, Brandon Miller shots, Miles Bridges shots, Mark Williams, so there's your lob threat. Charlotte, at some point, you look at that young talent and you got to say, they got to start making a move at some point.
19-63, the Hornets a season ago, 3rd worst record around the association. So, Kev, from the odds perspective, none of these 4 guys up on these boards all that surprising where they went or to which team. Starting at 5, though, was 8 Bailey to Utah. And at 6, Trey Johnson to the Washington Wizards. That's where we started to see a few upsets early on night number one. What can we expect the remainder of the lottery?
I think we can expect potentially some more upsets, Ben. I know that Jeremiah Fears had a listed over-under at 5.5, so that's one of the first draft positions that can now be graded, and it grades out towards the over. Certainly one of the guys impacted by Ace Bailey finding a home, Ben, inside that top 5.
The pick is in as well for the New Orleans Pelicans at 7th overall. Made official now. The guy that Kevin was just talking about, influenced by Ace Bailey, with the 7th overall pick in the 2025 NBA draft. The Pelicans select Jeremiah Fears out of Oklahoma. So, JY, as Kev was alluding to, over his draft position prop of 5.5, closing in the betting market as a minus 195 favorite to be the 5th overall pick. He has to wait, but just ever so slightly goes 7th to the Big Easy. What did the Pels just get with the freshman from Oklahoma?
Well, I think they got a silky smooth point guard that can run your offense and lead your offense, but also can score. With the addition of Jordan Poole and the trade for CJ McCollum, this selection makes perfect sense. You slide him into the point guard spot. Jordan Poole can be your scorer, can still score the ball, Jeremiah, but doesn't have to be this 18, 19, 20-point-a-game scorer like he was in Oklahoma. So good pickup there, good backcourt. Jordan Poole in a long-term contract should be there for a while. Good pickup here for New Orleans Pelicans.
Jeremiah Fears a bit of everything last year in Norman for Porter Moser in his lone year playing for the Sooners. Averaged 17 points per game, 4 dimes, 4 boards, a steal 0.6 per game as well. The only D1 freshman in the entirety of the country a season ago to average 17, 4, 4, and at least a steal and a half per game. Also averaged nearly 23 points per game in the final 9 games now of his collegiate basketball career at Oklahoma. So the slide on Jeremiah Fears, very, very brief. He goes 7th overall to the New Orleans Pelicans, despite being a minus money favorite to be a top 5 pick. As we start our second full hour of SportsGrid's draft special, the hometown team, the Brooklyn Nets, with the first of their slated 5 picks on night number 1. Now on the clock at 8th overall.
On June 25th at 7:30 p.m., ditch the guesswork. Ben Stevens, Kevin Walsh, James Young, and Tom Vecchio have your NBA draft betting coverage pick by pick, bet by bet, all night long. We got all the insights and expert analysis because betting blind isn't a strategy. Coverage starts at 7:30 p.m. on June 25th, only on SportsGrid.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What?
How do you do this one?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Dialing it back to his old days with St. Louis and Arizona. Buy or sell, Goldie will finish top 7 in fantasy first baseman.
No, I'm going to say no. I think he'll fall off. Older player here, he'll be top 10, but not top 7 here. Top 10, I would say I buy it. Top 7, I'm going to say no here. I think he'll put up decent numbers here. Not as good as he was. I don't think he's going to bat 340, 350 all year long.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on
Every 5 days, it's really exciting when Skeens pitches, and it's terrible watching him pitch because every time he pitches, they don't score.
Having him hit the lineup probably would actually help when he pitches. There's no way to do it because you can't, but yeah, it's beyond frustrating. And the numbers will tell you, the books have adjusted.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.